Welcome to the Hillsdale College Online Courses Podcast. I'm Jeremiah Regan, joined by my friend Juan.
And we're here back with Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. On to lecture number 6 today, the end of it. God bless us, everyone.
This is a fun one.
I should have said that more exciting, actually. God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone. This is A Christmas Carol, and Dickens has chosen to call his chapters staves to really evoke the musical kind of character he brings out. And God bless us, everyone is the refrain. Tiny Tim says it, multiple characters say it, and the point is to emphasize that. God will bless us, God has blessed us, and that's really what this lecture and this stave, the final chapter of A Christmas Carol, are about. Scrooge awakening, reborn, deciding to take advantage of the lessons he's learned from the ghosts who visited him and change the course of his future and the futures of those with whom he interacts.
That's right. This is a completely new Scrooge that we get in this stave. He's happy, he's excited, he's shocking everyone, actually, that he comes in contact with his new found sense of joy as he interacts with people in the town.
So the actual actions he takes are kind of well known. He orders the largest Christmas turkey to be taken to the Cratchits. He gives gifts to the philanthropist he denied the day before. And he plays a prank on Bob, pretending he's mad at him, but actually giving him a raise. All of these events are signs that they matter, but the biggest thing is the change within Scrooge. He has decided to live his life in part for others, which enhances his own enjoyment of his life greatly.
And that's interesting, right? It's not just he gets a turkey. He gets the biggest turkey.
Right.
Which, again, right, it's not necessarily prescriptive, but it shows you the heart of the man, the transformation, the difference in what he used to be and what he is now.
Right. The miserliness is gone. Maybe he could have said, well, let's just get them a turkey.
Right.
But I'll save a little bit of... No, he's not worried about saving a little bit of money on this turkey or that turkey. He's decided he's going to do the thing. He's going to give the gift. And so do it to the full. Do it to the hilt.
Yeah. The verse that comes to mind is when Cain offers a sacrifice to God. And it's always, at first, when I first read that, I was like, well, what's the problem with what Cain did? He did offer a sacrifice. Well, he did not offer a good sacrifice. In a sense, he did not give his first fruits. He did not give it all. And we can see that Scrooge is a new man.
Holding nothing back. And to spoil the ending, which I hope all of our listeners already know, and so they can still enjoy it through repetition, but Scrooge has become one who it was always said of, he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed that knowledge.
So everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless us, everyone.
We're here for Stave 5, the end of it. We've had our 4 ghostly visitations now. We've had Marley in Stave 1. We've had the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future in Staves 2, 3, 4. And now Scrooge has come to the end. Yes, the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own to make amends in. It's an important beginning to Stave 5 that the time was his own. This whole journey has been about time. In some mysterious way, this little novella is all about time, right? The ghosts of past, present, future, and Christmas at the heart of all of it, somehow giving time its meaning in some sense. Now, Scrooge has time as his own, which is to say he has time now as a gift that he has received, and he is ready to make his own response. I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated, as he scrambled out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. O Jacob Marley, heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. What does this mean? That the spirits of all three, past, present, and future, will strive within me. These are mysterious lines, They can be interpreted variously. One meaning, clearly, is that the things that he learned from each of these three ghosts are all going to stay with him. He's going to carry them within him going forward. What did he learn, basically? He learned to fill up his time with love and to live life as a kind of loving response to the call of creation and of everything that he sees. Okay, so there's a kind of unity to time and to his response to time. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I guess this could also mean that, in some sense, past, present, and future are going to occupy different parts of his attention. In some ways, he's going to be moving back continually. He's going to be trying to live in the present. He's going to be trying to live in the future. All three of these are going to be present to him in a full life of love. He was so fluttered and so glowing with his good intentions that his broken voice would scarcely answer to his call. He had been sobbing violently in his conflict with the spirit, and his face was wet with tears. I mean, this man is all used up and wrung out, but he's filled with a fresh energy now. "They are not torn down," cried Scrooge, folding one of his bed curtains in his arms. "They are not torn down, rings and all. They are here. I am here. The shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will." His hands were busy with his garments. Notice the physicality of all of this. He is ready to live in a fully embodied world and embrace the blessing of this particular given life that he's got. His hands were busy with the garments all this time, turning them inside out, putting them on upside down, tearing them, mislaying them, making them parties to every kind of extravagance. We've got all of this kind of funny, fanciful, kind of fond little action that he's engaging in. "I don't know what to do," cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath, and making a perfect Laocoon of himself with his stockings. This is a guy who's in a famous statue. He's wrestling serpents. It's humorous here that he's all caught up in his bedclothes. "I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy, as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Hello there. Whoop, hello." And so he's filled with joy that has its roots in Christmas. He had frisked about into the sitting room and was now standing there perfectly winded. One interesting thing is that, as he shortly finds out, it's Christmas Day, not Christmas Eve. This is the only part of the novella that takes place during the daytime. Everything else is night. It's dream, it's visions. He's now emerged from all of that kind of ethereal terrain into a kind of fully tangible, embodied daytime. Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, he gives a splendid laugh, a most illustrious laugh, the father of a long line of brilliant laughs. "I don't know what day of the month it is," said Scrooge. "I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello." Okay, so he's a baby. That's right here at the heart of Stave 5. What are we seeing when we're seeing Scrooge 2.0 here at the end? We're seeing a man. He's an elderly man, but he's a man who has rediscovered his own childhood, who is childlike himself in an important kind of deep and healthy way. So this is a new birth. This is somebody who has been rejuvenated by the mystery of the incarnation. In the course of this, he has met God in a set of children who have come to him, and now he himself is a child. So a big part of the mystery of this book is encountering the divine, in that encounter becoming a child yourself. There's a kind of reciprocity there. He was checked in his transport by the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Clash, clang, hammer, ding, dong, bell. Bell, dong, ding, hammer, clang, clash. Oh, glorious, glorious. All these onomatopoeias, right? We're just kind of entering into the rush of the experience. And everything that he's going to do the next few pages, it's all going to be the actions of a child. He calls out the window asks what time it is. It's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, said Scrooge to himself. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. That's going to be important. Everything fit into one night. We already saw this with the Ghost of Christmas Present. The 12 days of Christmas all fit into one night. There's a kind of magic and magical compression of everything into Christmas that is going to be important here. Okay, so what are the other characteristics of Scrooge here? I said shouting, laughing. He's ordering this big turkey, the prize turkey for the Cratchits. What, the one as big as me? Returned the boy. This is a boy he's calling to outside the window. What a delightful boy, said Scrooge. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck. It's hanging there now, replied the boy. Is it? Said Scrooge. Go and buy it. No, I'm serious. Go and buy it. So we've got good humor. We've got generosity, kind of unthinking generosity towards the Cratchits. Of course we're going to buy that bird. Get it done. At the bottom of the page, he's shaving, but he's having a hard time shaving because it's hard to shave while you're dancing. Okay, so he's dancing. If we keep on going a little further, calling Merry Christmas to everyone that he sees, blessing people, he meets the charitable gentleman whom he turned out of his office on the first few pages of the book. He's telling him he's going to give him more money. If you please, said Scrooge, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor? My dear sir. Don't say anything, please, retorted Scrooge. Come and see me. Will you come and see me? I will. So he is calling for human interaction. He's wrapping himself up in other people's lives. He's fully entering that reciprocal, loving way of relating to other people that has been calling him over this time. I will, cried the old gentleman. And it was clear he meant to do it. Thank ye, said Scrooge. I am much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you. So we've got Thanksgiving, we've got blessing, dancing, laughing, shouting, giving, everything. He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro and patted children on the head and questioned beggars and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamt that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. So he's just enjoying every little thing. This is very much what this novella is about. The blessing of every little thing and the kind of the revelatory power of every little thing. He goes to Fred's house. He enters in, surprises them. They certainly don't expect him. It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred? Let him in? It's a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. Okay, so we have the narrator there channeling Fred's response. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. His niece looked just the same. So did Topper when he came. So did the plump sister when she came. So did everyone when they came. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So we're full of wonder here. We've got all of these aspects of Scrooge's childlikeness, of his transformed self that are being unfolded for us here in Stave 5.
Paradise Lost is the great long English poem. John Milton's masterpiece is a beautiful, penetrating, and challenging look at human nature, the relationship between God, man, and the angels, and the relationship between men and women. In Hillsdale College's new free online course, Paradise Lost, Dr. Stephen Smith walks you through this epic of the Western tradition, and you can start now for free at hillsdale.edu/new course. By taking this course, you will contemplate the power of providence, experience life in paradise, dread the impending fall, imagine the war in heaven, discover true liberty, and feel the extent of God's love. To enroll today and to secure your spot in this completely free online course, visit hillsdale.edu/new course. NEWCOURSE. That's hillsdale.edu/new course.
Then there's Bob Cratchit. The next day, he comes in and Scrooge pretends to be grumpy. "Hello, what do you mean by coming here at this time of day?" He's a bit late. "I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. "I am behind my time." "You are?" "Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please." "It's only once a year, sir. I won't do it again." "Now I'll tell you what, my friend," said Scrooge. "I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore," he continued, leaping from his stool and giving Bob such a dig in the waistcoat that he staggered back into the tank again, "and therefore I'm going to raise your salary." Okay, so this is all sort of wild and hilarious, punching Bob in this stuff. These are things that you couldn't imagine Scrooge, that kind of physicality. You couldn't imagine him doing at the start. There's also this gratuitousness, though, that we have seen as a key attribute of love and of the good, if you want. This whole story, which now Scrooge is participating in, right? Just giving beyond because it's good, because you love. That's what love does. Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down with it, holding him, and calling to the people in the court for help and a straitjacket, right? This guy's losing it, right? Is that what's happening? "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge, with an earnestness that could not be mistaken, as he clapped him on the back. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop." This is some kind of Victorian alcoholic punch. Sounds very nice. "Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit." So warmth and all kinds of gift, right? Here he is giving at every turn, giving this, giving that. After years of taking, who knows how many years of hoarding, of holding in, he's now releasing, he's giving back, he's responding to the call of life. And that brings us to our last few paragraphs. Let's see what they have to say. Scrooge, we hear, was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. I just want to pause for a moment over that word infinite. This is just basic hyperbole on the one hand. What does anybody mean by saying something is infinitely this or infinitely that? In the context of this story, though, I think it means even more, because this is a novella about time, which is to say it's about the finite unfolding of minutes, hours, days, months, years, the past, the present, and the future. But there's also, as we know, something infinite in this story that comes close to the finite at each stage. Christmas in this book is about a power, a presence that draws together time and unifies it in this loving kind of compression which gives it back to us and gives it meaning, gives it a charge of meaning. That's what the mystery of the incarnation is about. It's about the infinite touching time. That's what this book is about a set of encounters which all come together to bring the infinite in contact with time. Scrooge, moving forward, is going to participate in that union of the finite and the infinite, in the sense that he, in loving those around him, he's going to extend the love of the incarnation into the world as he goes out in his childlikeness, right? Because the child is the path of that mediation of the divine. He's going to carry it out as he goes. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them. For he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good, at which some people did not have their fill of laughter in the outset. And knowing that such as these would be blind anyway, he thought it quite as well that they should wrinkle up their eyes in grins, as have the malady in less attractive forms. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle, ever afterwards. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. Let's just dwell on that for just a moment. To keep Christmas, this is a phrase that gets repeated throughout this little book. What does keeping Christmas mean? Well, it means, among other things, obviously observing it, cherishing it, revering it. But it also means holding on to it and not letting it go. Christmas, in a funny way, this is for a specific time of year, as we know. That's the whole point. It's what Christmas is. But it's also the secret of all time. It's for all times of the year. Recall the way we began. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve. Right? So it could have been any time, but it's Christmas Eve. This is a mystery that is nevertheless connected with the meaning of everything. Because why? Because the Christ child came in the fullness of time to give meaning to all time. And now Scrooge is ready to keep that and carry it into everything that he does and lives from henceforth. So that brings us to a conclusion. Let me just share a few concluding thoughts now that we're at the end to wrap this up. This little novella that we've been sitting with these hours together, it's timeless on its own. It's its own self-contained story that we all know and love. But I just want to give you a charge now that if you want to make it any further in Charles Dickens, this is a good starting point right here. Because, he's 31, Charles Dickens, in 1843. He has a lot of good books left to go in him. In fact, his greatest books all come after this, I would say. You've got David Copperfield, Bleak House, Great Expectations, Tale of Two Cities, and others that are just phenomenal. And this book is in some ways the key to all of them. So this is a great gateway into the world of Dickens, should you want to go into that world. The themes that he draws out here, the core themes of A Christmas Carol, are going to remain the core themes in his subsequent work. I'm thinking especially of the possibility of change and conversion. The possibility that I could be whom I'm meant to be, or you could, or we could, that anybody could. Nobody is beyond this possibility. That is something that's at the heart of his imagination going forward, the possibility of conversion. Secondly, I would mention the encounter with the divine in the smallest things, especially the most impoverished childlike people. That remains at the heart of every Dickens novel going forward. And then I would finally mention the drama and the potency of memory. Memory is this place where you encounter yourself, where you encounter the world, where you encounter the divine. That's something that he's going to press down deeper into in his subsequent novels. So we've got, in some ways, the key to Dickens here. I would also say, though, that, frankly, more importantly, this book gives us a way into Christmas, and that Christmas, if Dickens is right, is a key to all of life in some ways. If this novel works its magic, haunts us in the way that it should, we'll get deeper into Christmas and into life itself as a result. So I've made my whole argument here. I've explained this little book. I've given you all my theories, right? Because that's what professors are supposed to do. But it's some relief to me, let me say, finally, that A Christmas Carol will survive whatever I have said about it. It's a more complex, beautiful, mysterious, dreamlike, and real experience than anything that I could explain in these lectures. I've said all my piece, and maybe it will help you, I hope so. But this little carol will outlive me, will outlive all of us, and be sung along with by generations to come. It will transcend whatever we have to say about it because it's its own good gift given in the spirit of Christmas. And with that, we come to the end of our journey together. It's been my pleasure to be with you all during this time, and I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and say with Tiny Tim, God bless us, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Hillsdale Online Courses podcast. If you want to continue learning about A Christmas Carol or other topics, please visit hillsdale.edu/course. There you will find over 40 free online courses, including the history of classical music, Paradise Lost, Theology 101, and many more. The courses include additional readings, study guides, fully produced videos, and you can chat with your fellow students on a dedicated forum. Upon completing a course, you will also get a certificate. All our courses are free because we believe that a virtuous citizen is the best defense for liberty. So pursue the education necessary for freedom and happiness at hillsdale.edu/course today. That's hillsdale.edu/course. Thanks for listening.